So what we will do is we will start out with a shell balance on a cube. And it'll be a differential cube with a side area I will call A, and for the sake of brevity and simplicity, I will be analyzing the flux in one direction, and I will call this direction X. So we'll have this face will be we'll have an area of A, and this coordinate will have be defined as X, and this coordinate will be defined as X plus delta X. And coming in on the left side of our equation, on the left side of our control volume, we will have NA X evaluated at X, and leaving, we will have a flux called NAX evaluated at X plus delta X. And within our control volume, we will have some kind of reaction occurring, we may or may not, and then we will have some concentration of A, whatever species we're analyzing in this derivation. And what we will do now is go to our mole balance, which tells us that accumulation is equal to in minus out plus generation and consumption. And because we are not operating at steady state, we cannot get rid of A. What we will instead do is say that NA, so NA refers to the number of moles in our control volume at any time t, and because NA is a function of time, because we are not operating at steady state, we are keeping things generic, we can say that A will be equivalent to, NA will be equivalent to dCAV, the volume of our control volume, dt. And if we recognize that the volume must be equal to the area of the base A times the height delta X, we can say that this is equal to dCA times A times delta X dt. And what you'll note is that this term here is a constant which we can pull out of our equation. It is not dependent on time. And so when we do that, what we have is A times delta X times dCA dt must be equal to, and then our inlet term entering our reactor, or sorry, our control volume, will be NAX evaluated at X. And because flux is quantity per area per time, we need to multiply this by the area that is traveling through, and that area is A, so we multiply it by A. And then leaving our control volume, we have NAX evaluated at X plus delta X times area, because it is also flux, and then being generated inside our control volume, we will have RA, the number of moles of A that react per time per volume of our reactor or control volume. So we need to multiply this by volume, and the volume has the same definition, A times delta X. So just to be clear, this is also equal to volume of our control volume. And so what we do at this point with this equation is we're going to divide everything by delta X times area, and we're going to take the limit as delta X goes to 0. And what we'll note is that we have the definition of derivative here with these terms, and when we do that, what we end up with, and now this is negative, so this term right here is equal to minus dNax dx, because it's the negative of the definition of the derivative. So what we have after doing that is dCA dt, the change in the concentration of A per time in our control volume, must be equal to minus dNax dx, and then plus RA, so the rate of reaction, the moles of A that react per time in your control volume. And so getting to this point tells us how in the X direction the number of moles are changing. However, we can have flux occurring in Y and Z, and because of that, what you'll commonly find in textbooks is that they will call the flux a vector, and they'll define this NA vector, and that is equivalent to NAX, NAY, and NAZ. And the next thing you'll commonly see is we will take the divergence of NA to get a concise final general differential equation for from this mole balance. And in that case, what we see is we have dCA dt, and then that term must be equal to the divergence of your flux vector, and then plus RA. So this divergence term, the divergence of a scalar is a vector, because you will note the other terms in this equation are also scalar quantities, the number of moles of A that react per time, per volume, and this term here is also a scalar quantity, so the divergence of a scalar has to be, the divergence of a vector must be a scalar in order for this equation to be true. And so at this point, sometimes you'll see this equation rewritten in textbooks as dCA dt minus the gradient, or sorry, divergence of the flux vector, and then so you add this term to the other side, and then you subtract RA, and this must be equal to 0. So this is a common starting point that we will find in many equations when working with mass transfer, and this is a general differential equation for mass transfer in a control volume. And the next thing to note here is you'll see this term NA, and we need to know what that actually is. So going to Fick's law, so this term NA refers to flux. And flux has two components. We can have diffusive flux and convective flux. And diffusive flux is caused by concentration gradients or profiles. So if you have a difference in concentration between 2 points in space, that will result in diffusion of that species from an area of high concentration to a lower concentration. And convection is the result of bulk fluid motion. So if you have like a pipe flow, it's being driven by some other external force that is not a concentration gradient. That's just bulk motion, and so our flux term, our flux vector, has to take into account both of these forces. And so what we do next is that we will, so for sake of simplicity, we will again only examine the x component of our flux vector. What we will say is that NAX is equal to minus DAB, the diffusion coefficient, times the concentration profile of A in the x direction, dCA dx, and then plus YA times, and then we're going to assume we're working with a binary mixture, and it's very common you work with binary mixtures or two-component systems in introductory courses. So this will be equal to NAX plus NBX, so the flux of A in the x direction plus the flux of B in the x direction as well. And something to note here is that if you ever see the term equimolar counterdiffusion, what this tells us is that NBX is equal to minus NAX. So every mole of A that diffuses to the right, you would have a mole of B that diffuses to the left. And in that case, we would have no convective term. So just making it clear, this first term is caused by diffusion, And then the left term here is caused by convection. And it's very important to be able to understand from the problem statement or the system you're working with which of these terms dominates. It's common you'll only have one term dominating in the x direction, or you'll have like diffusion dominating, or you have convection dominating. So if you're dealing with if they say you have a fast moving stream or some other keyword, you would know that convection will be dominating because you'll have much faster velocities. Another point I'd like to make here is that sometimes we will write Ca is equivalent to Ya times C, the total concentration. So this Ya is just the molar ratio of component A in your control volume, and C is the total concentration inside your control volume. And so an example I like to, or I wish I understood better when I first started taking the mass transfer course, is if you're looking at pure water. So what is the concentration of pure water? Kind of seems like a bit of a silly statement, but the way you evaluate it is you look at the total moles you have of everything, and then you divide that by the volume. And so in the case of pure water, if we had 1 liter of H2O, we know that 1 liter has 1,000 grams of water molecules, and we know that there are approximately 18 grams per mole of water. And so what that tells us is that the concentration of pure water is equivalent to 55.5 molarity. And so that's how you would evaluate what big C is. And then sometimes if you're dealing with very dilute systems, when you have a component that is, or when the solute has very few moles, you can essentially assume that big C will be equivalent to 55.5 or 55.6 molarity when you're working with this mole balance. And so I hope you guys find this useful. Let me know if you have any questions, and thanks for watching.